Hello, everybody. Welcome to Planet FPL, where for the final time, this podcast will revolve around the FIFA Club World Cup, where last night they've been called scattergun, they've been called lacking identity, they've been called the £1 billion bottle jobs. Now they've got photos with Donald Trump. Congratulations to all our Chelsea listeners and viewers. You are FIFA Club World Cup winners. And I'm delighted to say our Chelsea correspondent, Gary Mantle's with me. How are you, Gary?
Good, thank you. I prefer champions of the world. Cup World Cup winners will do, but I'm going with champions of the world.
You're sitting in the sunshine. Go on, truthfully, how high are you today? I don't mean like high, high. You know what I mean.
I'm a lot higher than I thought I was going to be honest. Um, Someone messaged me like after the game, and he's like, "How does it feel?" And he's like, "A, amazing; B, good; C, like sort of that." And I was like, "It feels A." I thought it was going to feel B. I thought it was going to be like, "Yeah, this is good." But actually, I think it's because of the way we played. I think it's because everybody was going into the game, including us, thinking PSG are just going to destroy Chelsea. They've destroyed everybody else that they're playing. We're going to turn up, take our beating, and go, yeah, runners up, 80 million quid. We'll take it for a summer.
He's
And then,
mentioned money already. Your victory now means you've made more in this last month than you made in gate receipts in the 23-24 season. Don't know if you're aware of that.
um, I didn't know that, no, but that doesn't surprise me. No,
It was a good stat for you. Yeah, 97 million or so, is
that's what
it?
I've heard. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, fair game. Although the actual winning of the trophy didn't, it was only like 10 million difference for the winner or so, I think, wasn't
Yes,
it?
we were like 80 plus, and then now it's 90 plus. So yeah, it's
Now, congratulations. I mean, that was an outstanding mental, physical, tactical, whatever you want to call it, performance last night. I wouldn't say I thought you'd get destroyed in the final, Gary, but I think it's fair to say, and I still think they're the best team in the world. But you absolutely outplayed them last night. The scoreline wasn't a freak. You made people like me, who have obviously blown the trumpet up PSG's arse, look like a bit of an idiot recently. But they are still an absolutely brilliant football team. I said in the build up, you had to get everything absolutely spot on. And you did. Let's talk through some of the moments of the night, and then we'll talk reflection and kind of how do you value this victory. Team lineup comes out. Two right backs on paper, Reece James, Malo Gusto. Was how it lined up what you expected?
yeah. Normally, if Gusto and Reece are both playing, then Reece is going to play in central midfield. So I mean, it wasn't. I suppose in because it was quite fluid. It wasn't exactly um, how I expected because I thought Enzo would probably play more as a 10, and he didn't exactly play as a 10. So it felt like it was Reece and Caicedo would be the defensive midfielders. Enzo's in front of them, Palmer right, Neto left, and Joao Pedro on his own up front. Um, which it sort of was, but there was way more to it than that because that would be a really basic way of putting it. And if you watch the game tactically, I mean, arguably off the ball, it was four the back four, two in front, which was James Caicedo, and then the three up front, which was Joao Pedro. Enzo was going to the left, and Cole Palmer was going to the right. And Neto was, you just go and make sure that Hakimi doesn't do what he normally does and get his space. So it was almost like a setup of a 4-2-3 and a spare. And
Yeah, I
it
mean the
worked
spare
perfectly.
art was we speak so much with you about moving a full back into whether it's a central midfield position or moving higher up even to a 10, or even we've seen sort of particularly Malo Gusto say in the semi-final like really high up the right hand side, right back basically to right winger. This was like out of possession, and I reflected on this. You won't have heard it yet, but I've already spoke about this on our Patreon podcast this morning, our Q&A, about the will of obviously so many teams to find the 12th man, but a lot of your 12th man work here was obviously without the ball, and in terms of defensive shape, it was more about moving Neto into left back. That
Yeah.
was where you were finding your extra body, right? Was out of possession, him going into left back, Cucurella tucking in becomes almost like a 5-4-1 or 5-2-3, depending on how you want to determine it. And when I reflected on it more, like that's so clever because when you're playing an opponent like that, clearly it's not so much about what you do with the ball because you are going to have less of it. And I know game state played into that a lot, but I think whatever the score was, they'd have had more of the ball last night.
So I don't know how they do it because I was thinking like 20 minutes in, I was like, this has been all Chelsea. And I looked at the possession stats. PSG were on 65 or something like that. I'm like, where have they had all this possession? But somehow they do. that's how they play. They keep hold of the ball, and you barely even realize it.
I tell you what, honestly, what I thought, Gary, it was about 10 minutes was gone, and it felt like they hadn't been in your half. Like any possession they'd
Yeah.
had been kind of really deep phases, and then had a little bit of territorial in and around your box. Nothing too threatening. And I tell you what went through my mind, it reminded me of Barcelona in the finals against Manchester United, where
Hmm.
Barcelona used to start really slowly, and it was like, you've had your 10 minutes, now we're coming. But it didn't happen. And as much as obviously we've spoken about the defensive work of Neto funneling to make 5-4-1, there was a clear target to get at PSG's right hand side and get Cole
Hmm.
Palmer into the areas that he is almost unplayable when he's in this sort of form. And I mean, the two goals are so brilliantly taken, the brilliant assist for João Pedro as well. I want to know, Gary, when the first goal went in, how did you react? Well, I guess first and foremost, were you at home? Were you in a pub or where were you?
I was at home. No, I don't really like watching football in pubs, to be
That's
honest.
fair.
I so I was at home on my sofa. I will say we might come on to it later on. Both of my brothers went out and went to the game. So
They went out to New York, yeah.
yeah,
You
they
didn't
went.
because
Because I've got a second child, so I'll remind her of that. That if it wasn't for her, I might have been able to afford to go. But no, no, and I mean we can go on to it. But also, it's like if you think when you get to a Champions League final, you get to the final 3 or 4 weeks before the match is played. This is like 4 days. It's like I'd never planned for us to get to the final. It's like you just can't logistically. Some people can't logistically sort their lives out that quickly.
no, of
But
course. You must have thought though when the draw opened up with the good side and the bad side, if you will, that you knew it was a good, strong chance that you could from the last
yeah,
16 stage.
yeah, and I don't know. I never properly considered it until it was well too late. But it costs a lot. We can talk about that later on if we want to. What was the question that I was supposed to be answering?
About getting Palmer into his most
Oh
dangerous
no, yeah. So
position.
you were asking me like where I watched the game and how I
Yeah.
reacted. So first off, is that first I thought he'd scored earlier on, but
Oh yeah.
then the way that he reacted, I wish he had because well, in a way I don't, but I think everyone would be talking about the link up between him and João Pedro if that had gone in because it was João Pedro's awareness was phenomenal. Like PSG defenders are all over the place. They couldn't cope. So he's had his sighter. He's then scored that one. You're like, wow, I don't know where this has come from. Presumably, this is going to give PSG a kick up the arse, and then they're going to come at us. But I didn't. I've reacted more when we've scored other goals, I think.
That's
But
more
I
where I was
still,
trying to get at. Yeah. I mean, are
yeah,
you going
I
mental
think
around the living room? Or is there also an element of, okay, we're one up, that's good. I know these are still strong.
there kind of, yeah, yeah. I think there probably is an element of that as well. I don't know. Yeah, it's not quite the same. I don't know why. If it's just because there's like the lack of like the build up and it's even like domestic finals, you're against a rival team, and PSG and Chelsea did have a bit of a rivalry a few years ago, and then that kind of fell away as they sort of got better and we didn't. Remember, we played each other in the Champions League like 3 years in a row, so it sort of started building up then. But there's no like I don't know any Paris Saint-Germain fans, so there's none of that. So yeah, it was still I probably reacted more when we scored away at Forest than I did when we scored the first goal against PSG.
You were there as well, right?
That's yeah,
Does
I
that
was.
help?
So,
I mean, there's plenty of times I've been at home or in a pub and I've absolutely lost my nut in a moment, right? It might just be a random league game. I was trying to
yeah,
imagine what this was like for Chelsea fans because I think as well, it's so far away. You're well aware it's in America and it's on the other side of the world. You feel quite detached, I think. Like you can't, it's weird. When you're in a stadium, you feel like you can influence it a little bit. You know, get a
yeah.
chance and something. You're so detached, there's nothing you can do, and you know how far away they are. And you can't get there, right? Unless you spend a stupid amount of money. It
Hmm.
feels like they're on the other side of the world. It's not even if it was in Europe and you couldn't go, right, fine, but it's in Europe. You used to seeing your team play in European competition all the time. This feels like something that's like pre-season.
I don't think it does feel like pre-season.
I'm not saying the
Um,
tournament is pre-season, but you're what you'd associate watching Chelsea in America is pre-season football, right? It would be for any of us.
Generally, yeah, normally that is when well, every other game that we've played in our history that's been in America has been a pre-season game. So yeah, I get what you mean. Um, yeah, I suppose you are a bit detached, but then you generally are with a World Club Cup. And then I suppose that's why I've never put them as high as as other tournaments.
We'll come back
I
onto
did have
that.
it. Yeah.
When the third went in, were you losing your nut?
Kind of in like a sort of surprise. You can hear my daughter, who's been told not to. Oh, sorry. Hello, darling. Okay, have fun, darling. There you go. There's the reason that couldn't go to New York.
This is why Gary's in the garden as well.
Exactly, where I thought I'd get some peace. So I've lost the question again. Sorry.
Third goal, you lose your nut when João Pedro
The
scored.
goal. I didn't lose my nut. It was more of a like, and I have had this kind of feeling before, like where you something's like been building, building, building. It's like instead of like it being like an explosion, it's like almost like a weight kind of coming off your shoulders a little bit. Like, wow, this is actually going like as well as it feels like it's going, sort of thing. And you're like, you just feel this is ridiculous. Like, how has this happened? How have we gone 3-0 up against? You're right, the best team in the world in the first half. How's like everything that we've done has come off. Um, everything that, as you said, off camera, and we'll get into it on camera. Everything that Maresca's planned just seems to have been spot on. And yeah, and in my opinion, which is going to be biased, fully deserved to be 3-0 up.
Yeah, not in question, mate. Not in question. It doesn't change my opinion on PSG. I just reflect on
Yeah,
last night
yeah,
and
no, I
think just
agree.
absolutely outstanding from your perspective. I got asked a question on my stream on Friday, and someone said, "Oh, it feels impossible." I said, "It's not impossible. It's one game of football. It's not like you don't have great players."
Hmm.
It's just so difficult the way they play, but you completely manipulated them. Every time on transition, you're like, we're going to do them over, mate. Once you got it into that right half space with Palmer, Gusto pushing up, and you always had that protection and security of obviously Reece James sitting in, and Casado is phenomenal, mate.
Yeah, he just seems to be. I think people are noticing him a lot more as well, but he just seems to be improving all the time. But also, what I did notice this. I can't remember if it was Benfica or Fluminense, one of the games, but we look like we know that he's going to win the ball back. So as soon as he's won the ball back, it's almost as if Neto's already gone. As soon as he sees Caicedo go, and he's like, he's winning that, and I'm gone. And how many times did you see Neto like get acres of space? No, he barely actually got a pass, but he was already. It's like this is how we play. This is what we've prepared for. Um, so
It-
it's
It's
all it's
it's
all come
it's a
up to the
trust
right.
thing, isn't it? If you've got a little
Yeah,
striker playing off a big man, the little striker will gamble. Think of like Quinn and Phillips as an old example, right? Kevin
showing
Phillips
our
would
age,
go
but
because he
yeah,
thought Quinn might win it, right? Certain players make runs to the near post because they know the cross will come in early. I've spoken about Haaland and Doku as like an example. It's like, is the cross going to come or isn't it going to come?
yeah,
With it's a little bit like that. With Casado goes in to win it, they'll all be thinking there's a good chance here, and if he
yeah,
wins it, we're off as a collective. And then it's easier to anticipate offensively than defensively. So the
hmm,
anticipation there is that he'll do the dog's work, and then the team can react as one. Similarly, PSG are not used to their footballers getting dispossessed in the middle of the football pitch or losing
no,
50-50s, right? So it's not common for them as well. I think it's worth saying their whole team underwhelmed last night, but I don't want that to take away anything away from what you achieved. Were you worried at all at the start of the second half? It did come
yeah,
out quick.
yeah. I was. I think that, like to me, the big moment was when Dembele had that chance from about 6 yards out that Sanchez saved, and it's like Andros Townsend was saying, like this looks like it's a fairly simple save. It's like, but it's so close to him. The reactions there are phenomenal, and like at that point, it's like if that goes in, that's on what like 52 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, it
Like
was quite
you're
early.
just you're like then you're really going to be sitting in for the rest of the half. It feels. So I think that to me felt like a really big moment. Like,
A,
um,
a, a word on Sanchez because I know you're always quite quick to stick up for him anyway.
yeah, um, he had his one moment, which they also pointed out in commentary when we were 3-0 up and there's about 5 minutes left, and he tried to turn somebody and he nearly lost the ball. And they said, well, if he's even getting away with that today, you know it's all going your way. But I feel like a lot of criticism of him goes over the top. I've always said that. I've always said that I think he's a good goalkeeper, and I think he played really well as a goalkeeper last night. But also, what I've noticed a lot during this tournament is he's really quick to release the ball now, and it's not necessarily his kicking; it'll be like his throwing. And again, it's like it seems that we've got a plan for if we get the ball, if Caicedo wins it in the middle, we do this. If Sanchez gets hold of the ball, we do this. It's like we're already ready to go. It's like they don't even need to think about it necessarily. And you saw like that's how we scored. It's the first goal, isn't it? From his
It's
sort of
been a
long ball.
feature of your whole competition here,
Yeah,
faster attacks. Been a
that's
feature.
right. And he's like he, he is part of that. And he was part of that yesterday. And um it was a sort of I wouldn't say a plan B because it's not like there was, oh, this isn't working, so we'll do this. This was just a plan that we had as well. Sometimes he's going to use the long ball, and quite often it was quite effective because I think he's probably one of those that the more time you give him to think, the more time he'll take to think, and then it gets worse. But
The That early save in the second half came after a very extended half-time period, which I must tell you, Gary, I didn't watch because they turned the Lionesses on and I kept flicking over and it's like, is the game ever going to restart? The game restarted, I think it was 9:24 p.m. UK time. And I know the game kicked off late anyway. It was about sort of 8 past 8, I think, when it actually kicked off. It was basically a 25-minute half time, wasn't it? What
yeah, I
did you
think
make of
officially it
that?
was
Did you
24.
think it? I mean, I guess did you think it benefited you? And can you ever see 25-minute half times kicking off over in England?
No, but that is like I don't think it will. And to be honest, I hope it doesn't because it probably is too long. But if you've ever been to a game in America, if it tells you if the thing tells you it's a 7 o'clock kickoff, it's going to kick off at about 7 minutes past seven. This is normal in America.
I've known
Like
that. We've been
there were
having friendlies out there, yeah.
yeah, this is it. And they'll and it might even be that they all come out and then there's 7 minutes of adverts on the TV and you're like, am I missing the match? And they cut back and they're about to kick off. You're like, that is how things are done in America. And the same with the halftime show, like that's how it's done over there. So it's like, all right, as long as it's just over there, that's fine because I don't really want it in this country. We do like things kicking off at a certain time, and we like half time being 15 minutes. And I know part of it's like that's just the way that we've done it, and that's what we're used to. Um, I didn't, I didn't feel like it was affecting us personally. I think there's also, in reality, there's probably a benefit to it. It's so hot out there. Like the longer that you can give players to cool down, to get on board what they need to get on board or anything like that. And you've got to interview Mark Cucurella. So when else are you going to do that if it's not going to be a 24-minute half time?
Mark Cucurella was a little bit better in his interview than Tosin Adarabioyo was during the shorter halftime break of the semi-final. Maybe Cucurella knew that he had a little bit more time on his hands potentially. I think
Yeah,
like the individual player entrances and stuff, like it's fine, it works out there. I said this previously. It's not going to be for us over here.
exactly. That's
It's a
it.
culture thing.
That's it.
It's fine. It works in America. I think 25 minutes for a half time is too long though, and they need to do because they're obviously going to do this again for the International World Cup final next year. Like, need to do something with that. That's, yeah. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I didn't see the flare up at the end, Gary, because
Hmm.
when João Neves was sent off, I packed off my own kid to bed. I went, that's enough. There's zero chance now. That will do for me. And it all kicked off at the end. What happened?
I don't know exactly because like the first that you saw of it on the TV was that João Pedro's on the ground. And, like we don't know what's happened, and they showed like the
Oh, your
hello,
daughter's back.
there's
Hello.
there's the champions of the world. Chelsea. There we go. Good girl.
Great.
Very bad.
Absolutely
So,
destroying my podcast as if it wasn't bad enough.
yeah, I don't know exactly what happened because you remember as well when we scored the first goal, Donnarumma then comes rushing out and it's like kicking off, and I thought, oh, if they disallowed it for some reason, he's running out as if he's got the ball and he's right, let's take our free kick. Um, And then at the end, I don't know. I don't know what happened at all. Didn't don't really care to
Did
be honest.
Enrique
But
hit João Pedro? Did he swipe at
I don't
him?
think he hit
Did
him.
Donnarumma
Like
knock him over? Like I've seen
I think
replays this morning. I can't really tell.
no, neither can I. But it looked to me like Donnarumma was, although he was having a go at him, he was still being quite restrained. And Enrique, for some reason, was like an arm went in and it sort of touched him, and he's probably just thrown himself to the ground. Which I mean, if your two choices are either you know that you're going to react, or if you just do that, then you're out of the situation and just do it, and we can all just move on. And it's like, I think
Yeah, maybe.
it's not
Although
like I want
the
someone to
going
be.
down easy once the game's finished is a little pointless.
It is pointless, but if he doesn't and he knows he's got the red mist coming, and then he ends up smacking like one of those two, then it's like what's the point. So I don't know. And I didn't really care. PSG, you could tell were getting you could they kept showing Luis Enrique in the second half, like getting annoyed. Like when Cucurella was going down, who was it? It was João Neves actually, wasn't it? That tried to pick him up. Like he
There's been
physically
a few
lifted him off the
games in this
ground.
tournament when teams have known they've been beaten and you thought they're going to go off here. The
Yeah.
number of, I don't know if that's a reaction because it's hotter as well, is
Yeah,
impacting more,
that's definitely a thing.
maybe.
It's just definitely a thing. It does like with you yeah, trying to keep your cool is a lot harder
Yeah,
when it's that
that
hot.
makes sense that people are agitated and they're hot as well. The Mark
Yeah.
Cucurella's had his hair pulled again, obviously for that red card. That's three times now, isn't it? It's an advantage, isn't it? You get someone sent off like every 40 games or so for this, don't you? Although I
Yeah.
know
Well,
Romero
we
didn't
don't,
get
do we?
sent off.
And
I
Romero,
know.
and I did tweet about this. Like, I don't think, to be honest, that the one last night should be a red card. He's pulled his hair, but it's not really violent, is it? The Romero one, he pulled him to the ground. It's like, that's not violent because it's his hair. It's basically thrown him to the ground. That's why it's a violent conduct thing. It's nothing to do with his hair. This one, it's like, all right, it's a bit of handbags, but now, as we know, technically that's a red card. So the ref doesn't
And then we scored from
doesn't
the
have a
corner
choice.
as well, which is
Yeah,
ironic. Listen, I don't have too many good moments at Stamford Bridge to count upon, so just let me have that one. Thank you very much. Then of course
yeah,
these celebrations at the end, which again I've only seen this morning, so amusing because a certain president of the United States of America did not want to get himself out of the way. I've seen a few close-ups this morning. Cole Palmer has a look on his face like he's realised that this is the guy from the hotel in Home Alone 2 and
right.
wants to know what he's doing now. And you can see Cole Palmer like, what's he doing now? And Reece James, who is captain, has this really awkward moment. Have you seen it? Where he clearly says to Trump, "Are you going to leave?" You can mouth
Yeah, yeah.
it. "Are you going to leave?" And Trump just turns away from him and seems to go, "No."
Yeah, I watched the whole thing, and I'm getting like not a lot of people would have done by that point, but I was like, I was watching him because he sort of stands out as I mean, A is bright orange and B is the only one not in a Chelsea kit, and you're like, he's not leaving. I can tell that what he's doing is that he's trying to say because Gianni Infantino goes, and Trump just sort of like watches and then looks back, and I'm like, why haven't you just gone with him? It's like, I don't care, to be
He's
honest,
not going to
really
miss
don't care.
a moment to be the centre of attention, is he? It's a little bit of a shame that he's ended up in so many of these pictures and
I
whatnots with
think
what
quite
you've
funny
achieved.
just because it looks like it's a meme because of this ridiculous trophy that's like things are shining off that. They're shining off him. You'd think that this has been photoshopped. It's not. That's what actually happened. Other people would have, when they first saw that image that didn't watch the trophy lift, must have thought someone's like put this together as a joke. But it's not. This is like what happened. And honestly, it's like, no, I really don't care. Like,
No,
just,
it's like it
just
was like
fuck
the
all. It's
Messi
like,
with the cloak thing at the World Cup. People get over it, won't they?
yeah. And to be honest, and it sounds stupid, I'd rather it was him than Infantino because I really dislike Infantino putting his mark all over this. Like the trophy's got his name on it twice. It's got his signature on it. Trophy's got a key as well. This trophy unlocks and becomes some sort of different trophy. It's like this is all, I don't know. So
Gary, right, go on then. So we've led into it. You can claim Donald Trump as your own. No one else wants to. Um, how much does this feel, right? Listen, you was in Porto, which was obviously a very unique circumstance when you beat Manchester City in a stadium that wasn't full for a Champions League final. Of course, you was in Munich. Am I right in saying you was in Moscow as well?
yep.
So you've had two Champions League final victories, one defeat on penalties. How I was going to say, how does last night compare to those, and can it? Because I know it's great you can claim champions of the world and stuff, but it it's been publicized, or at least Infantino's trying to publish it as the undisputed best team in the world, and of course you're going to claim it. But does it feel like that's what you achieved last night?
No, no, it doesn't. No, we're not the best team in the world, but I mean, we did beat the best team in the world. I
Yeah, and
mean,
I wouldn't put anything. Listen, people can say about the draw, right? It's like, oh, England have had good draws to get to finals. Yeah, but did England ever do that then in the final? I said this on Friday.
yeah,
If Chelsea beat the best team in the world, they deserve to win the competition, no doubt.
yeah, it doesn't. No, to me, it doesn't compare to winning the Champions League. Um, it's like the first time that we won the Champions League as well. That still sits above the second time. Um, there's always yeah, it, and winning the Premier League is above this as well. To be honest, the way that I've like felt recently, there's even been domestic finals against Liverpool that I'd rather that we'd beaten them, and it's partly because we've lost so many finals to Liverpool. Like let's say the FA Cup final that we lost to Leicester, fine, get over that. But maybe ones where there's a team with more of a rivalry, you sort of like uh, it it's a bigger deal than other ones. But still, I felt that because it's the first one and nobody else has done this, like just something else that we can say, isn't it?
But
We
it's not
can
the first
really
time.
say we've won
It's
it
not the
all.
first time you've won it, Gary. So
Well,
last night, if I could just say, obviously, I put out, I know you've seen it because obviously you quote tweeted it. I put out a tweet, congratulate our Chelsea followers, well done. And I actually wrote, when I first wrote it, I put the word again and I deleted it because I thought, I don't know if this is coming off a bit like it's not a big deal. So I deleted it. I didn't want anybody to interpret anything weird about it. So I just said, you know what? No, it's their night. Just put, they've won it. But it is the second time you've won it. Did last night mean more than the first time in the old format?
so officially, it's not the second time we've won it, I believe. So I don't know if everybody knows this. That previous competition still going.
The
It's
Intercontinental Cup, is
That's
it?
right. It's
Yeah.
they've officially renamed it that. So that was played for this season. Real Madrid won it in December. Nobody knows that because nobody cared. But that's the same tournament that we won. So officially, according to them, we've won a different thing, I believe. Um, it did feel better than the last time. There's it's there's just more of a tournament feel to it, and I think this is in my mindset. So I've been to a lot of finals. I used to have a list, and then my phone broke, so I don't. But it's like 20 something finals that I've been to watching Chelsea. First one was in 1994. So I've not missed many, but the ones that I've missed have been like the Club World Cup finals. And then I've never been to one of the Super Cups. I don't really go to Community Shields, but I did go to like Baku and Moscow. And so it's not like I don't mind to travel or anything like that. It just there's only certain things that I'll do it for. So with them, it's like you've qualified for a tournament that, what is it, six or seven teams play in anyway. And it's like, it's a it's like a shield. It's like another shield kind of thing. But this is different. This is like this is a Club World Cup. Lots of clubs from around the world played in this tournament. So it does feel it feels bigger. To me, it feels bigger.
It must have
Maybe
felt
not
easy.
to.
It must have also felt easier to win though than a Champions League.
Yeah, it is. It is easy in the Champions League.
Again, if
Yeah.
the, I mean, domestically, there's two clubs who finished above you who weren't there. The La Liga champions weren't there. Serie A champions weren't there. There's others
Portuguese
as well.
champions. Yeah.
Portuguese champions, yeah. Don't think that would have mattered too much, with all due respect to Sporting Club de Portugal. Victor Gyökeres on his way to Arsenal.
Mhm.
HWG, apparently. Um, it wasn't as difficult to win as the Champions League.
No, it's not. I mean, it does
What
help that
what I
the draw
almost mean
really
it,
opened up for
you've
us, doesn't it?
experienced that emotion of winning the Champions League. When you
Yeah.
win the Champions League, even if people could say, oh, they were lucky that night in Munich or whatever, whatever. When you win that, you truly feel like you've been the best.
Yeah.
And that's not to say you haven't deserved this competition, but I think you are looking over your shoulder going, there are definitely six or seven other teams here that could have been here and would have maybe really competed for this competition. So you haven't necessarily beat the best of the best. In the Champions League, if you end up winning that competition, it feels undisputable. Someone else has gone out along the way.
Yeah, and also there's the when if you play against a team in a Champions League knockout, you know that they are giving absolutely everything for that game. Whereas, did Atletico Madrid turn up playing 100% in this tournament? Did Bayern Munich give it everything? Like, there's,
Well, did you at the start even? Like you've played it well, but you experimented so much in the earlier rounds.
yeah, we did. But then
You could.
it's just one of those things. Yeah, exactly. And this happens a lot in tournaments, like where sometimes you might lose a game that you think you're going to win, and that puts you second in the group, but actually that really opens it up for you. And sometimes the opposite happens, where, like, for example, Liverpool win the league phase of the Champions League and they play Paris Saint-Germain. And it's like sometimes you get lucky and sometimes you get unlucky. And that's just how tournament football is. And I'm not going to deny it. We got lucky. Of course we got lucky. Now, if you're a City fan and you're going to tell me we got lucky, well, that's partly your fault, isn't it? Because they could have done something about it. We expected, even when it opened up, well, we're going to play City in the semi-final. And yeah, they lost to Al Ali, didn't they?
Al Hilal.
Al Hilal. Yeah. Sorry, Al
Yes.
Ali, the Egyptian one. Yes.
Did you watch all of the Chelsea games?
I missed the first one. It was a bit annoying because I'd watched all of the Club World Cup and then I was working for that one. So the first game I missed was the first Chelsea game. The third one was Esperance Tunis,
It's like
which
two
was at
o'clock in
like
the
two.
morning, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I was working on earlies, so I got up at like 3:30 and watched the last half an hour, which was like the kind of time I'd get up, and we were like comfortably winning. To be honest, I thought we were probably going to win. And then I think I watched all the rest of them. I'm actually sat in the same position that I was for the first 85 minutes of the Benfica game before it got stopped for 2 hours, and by which time it was 1 in the morning. I'm probably not going to watch football in the garden. I watched it inside. But yeah, I've watched as much at Chelsea. Other I've watched other games, but quite often like the best game was the one at 2 in the morning. It's like it's a shame. And
Yeah,
even when
Man City, Al
City,
Hilal. I never saw it.
that's it. Because and actually, I was awake for the start of that game, and City go 1-0 up, and you're like, right, well, wake up in the morning and see how much they've won by. And yeah, and then it turns out you missed the best game of the tournament, or most eventful game in the tournament. So, but we're looking at that from a European point of view. Um, Maybe South Americans and maybe North Americans feel different. I don't know. But for us, yeah, that just didn't really suit us as Europeans.
Yeah, one of the reasons I really wanted you on, obviously, once we knew he was in the final, it made sense, was to get a voice on here that could relate to being attached in the tournament. I think, like for me, I can't do it just or unjust because I've had no horse to back. The horse I'd kind of
Mm.
been backing was PSG a little bit because I'm thinking, well, I want them a bit knackered for the Super Cup final. And for those who messaged me and said, there you go, James, there's the blueprint for how to beat them, I'd suggest all you did was just poke the bear. And it's probably now my problem in a few weeks' time. Thank you very much. But when you don't have anything that invested in it, it's tough. And obviously, for the majority of people in this country, there's only two English teams been in it. I'm not suggesting that everyone
Mm.
should be in it, but most people haven't had a vested interest in who's involved. So
Mm.
it does change. I know England don't always qualify for tournaments, but
No, but
if you haven't
this
got anything
it is
invested in, like my team didn't qualify, my team wouldn't have had the right to be there, right? But it doesn't feel like there was a qualification process to try and qualify. Do you understand what I mean? Like, if we don't
no, I
qualify
know.
for the Champions League, I don't think, oh, my team's not in the Champions League. I've got no interest in watching it. It's different because it's established, and
Yeah,
I get that.
it is. Yeah, but that's a good point, and I will make a point about that at some point as well. But even when you're in this tournament, it wasn't that easy to keep up with it. Just again because games were at like strange times and this kind of thing. So when there's a World Cup or a Euros, you know which fixtures are taking place like that night. You just have it in your mind, like, oh yeah, because you're thinking, maybe it's because of this, but you're like, right, Brazil are in this group, Argentina this group, Germany this group, Spain, whatever. So you're thinking, right, they're playing them then, and then they might draw them and whatever. I never felt like that with this. I don't know why that is. Maybe club tournaments are just different, and maybe it's because I just don't really know that much of the difference between Fluminense, Palmeiras, Botafogo, and like it doesn't really matter who's playing who. It's like, well, they're playing a Brazilian team, and they're playing an Argentinian team. Maybe because we don't know much about the teams, you don't really know what to look out for.
Let me say this a different way to you then. Next tournament, we presume is going to be in 4 years. I wouldn't be surprised if after that it becomes every 2 years, by the way. And
Yeah.
I imagine the competition is going to expand in terms of the number of clubs because surely FIFA are going to look at no Barca, no Liverpool, all these sort of things and go, we need these teams there and find a way to do it. Would you care if you weren't in the next one? Like, I know you've got a title to defend for the benefit of the audio listeners. Gary's shaking his head. So if it happened in 4 years and you're not involved, you don't care.
No,
See,
I've never really.
that speaks pretty big, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I've always sort of felt like that about tournaments. Like when we won the Champions League in 2012, if we hadn't won it, we wouldn't have qualified again. And because we did, it meant that we played in it the next season. I didn't care about that aspect of it. We'd won the Champions League. That's what I cared about, and that's what I care about like now. And it would be like an easy way. Don't put it past them if FIFA or UEFA wanted to get three English clubs in. Well, Chelsea, you're in because you're the previous winners, and then you get two other ones in. It's the kind of thing that they'd do. Um, I'm I don't feel like I would be that fussed by it. I mean, look, we've won the Conference League. I don't care that we're not going to defend that. I hope we're never going to
Different,
have
isn't
to
it?
defend that.
It is different.
Yeah. And the same, you've won the Europa League and you're not going to get to defend that. But
No, but you're going up to something is attainable, right?
yeah.
So if my club and your club isn't in the Champions League next season, we're bothered, I guess,
Hmm.
to sell it a different way, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that should be, particularly for your club, is probably minimum objective, right? More difficult for mine. For you now, though, that would be a disappointment, I guess, if you weren't in the Champions League 26, 27
Yeah.
to sell it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
But
It would.
if you knew you weren't going to be in the Club World Cup in 4 years, you'd basically say I'm not that bothered.
No, and that's because I think, well, we'll go, well, we played in it this time and we won it. So I don't know.
They
Doesn't
won't be
matter.
able to take that away from you, mate. We'll
This is
talk.
true.
We'll talk Chelsea FPL assets in a couple of weeks. You'll obviously be on with us correspondent week. But just a couple of quick ones before we finish. Do you see you investing more? We've obviously got Bino Gittins to integrate into this team. Do you expect there to be more? Or actually, no, I'll just rephrase that. What week do you think you'll buy Garnacho?
Um, I don't know. I don't know if there will be. I suspect that there will, but then part of the theory with Joao Pedro is that he can cover quite a lot of positions. And I don't know if we plan to like use Tariq George there or not. So Garnacho would play sort of on the attacking midfield left, let's say. So Gittins is probably going to be the first choice there, but Pedro Neto is also going to be able to play there. Tariq George can play there, and Joao Pedro can play there. So I don't know if we are going to go and buy like another player that can play there. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. Um, I wasn't sure at all why we were after Joao Pedro, and obviously I was completely wrong about that because apart from that, he's just settled in immediately and plays really well with Cole Palmer. His versatility is going to be huge for us because even when he's playing as a nine, he doesn't play it like a nine. When he played against Fluminense, he seemed to get as many touches in our own half as he did in the opposition half. That's how he plays, which then might allow Palmer to remain a bit further forward, and then he's going to play off him. And I don't know. Tactically, I think it like really helps us out. I think that's becoming quite an important thing in modern football to have versatile players. If you're the backup just for one player, and that player never, nothing ever happens to them, then you just never get to play. It's kind of how it is with, let's say, with Harvey Elliott at Liverpool. He's Mo Salah's backup. He's not getting any game time. Based on the under 21s Euros, he should be, but he's not going to because he can't get in ahead of Salah. We kind of found that with Christopher Nkunku. And so whether he's going to play or not, I don't know because he looks like he's been reintegrated as well. So I'm not sure that we are going to go and buy other players. But I suppose what it might also come down to is are we going to sell any more players? Because Madueke's gone. Is, for example, Nicholas Jackson going to push for a move? Because he's now third choice striker. We didn't even have three
Jackson
strikers last season.
Garnacho swap all over on it.
Don't know. But then I still think I think we're going to need a lot of depth. If you're going to be in the Champions League and trying to get in the top five, you need depth. Um, and it looks like Arsenal are working towards that. City have been doing that since January. They're just really bulking out the squad, which I think is quite smart. Um, and I think I don't know, I think clubs are realizing that now, and I think we're probably going to try to keep the number of players that we've got now. So, not saying that we won't sign anybody, but I think we'd probably
But
sell
there'll be
somebody if we were
sales
going to sign them.
to go with
Yeah,
that. That makes sense.
that's how I feel.
A word on Madueke. Time recording not completed, but we assume he's joining Arsenal. Thoughts on that? Is that surprise? Not?
I was surprised that Arsenal wanted him. I think he's a good player. I think he didn't kick on the way that we wanted him to this season. Um, from like maybe harshly, but like towards the end of the season, my sort of analysis of him that he was still living off his hat trick at Wolves. Um, I don't think he actually had a really good season, but stats wise, when you get 3 goals at the start of the season, your stats always look quite good. Oh yeah, he
Got
scored X
four,
amount of
didn't he? Did
goals.
he get four?
No, um, no, he scored a hat trick. No,
Didn't
I
Palmer
can't remember
assist
what
him
it
all
was.
four goals? Am I
I
imagining
don't
that?
think. No,
I think he
I
got
think
four,
so.
Gary. I think so.
I don't think he did.
I
I'm
think he
trying
did.
to
You
think.
were probably there, and I definitely wasn't.
No, I don't. I reckon that you'd probably forget who scored the sixth because I remember Jackson scored the first.
João
Palmer
Felix.
scored. There you go.
Say,
He
I
scored the
haven't.
sixth, and
I'm on it,
Palmer
mate.
scored.
Yeah.
Sure, Felix, who wasn't in our squad in pre-season, and then by January was out of our squad again. So we just had him for like 4 or 5 months, just to
Is
show
he your
you what
player
kind
or
of.
not?
Yeah, he still has. He's in the
That
bomb
that's one
squad.
that's going to go, presumably.
Yeah, but it doesn't make a difference. He's not really considered as part of the squad anyway. Like he's not. He could have come and played in this, but I don't think they wanted him to. They don't like his attitude, whereas they really like Pedro Neto's attitude. And I
I mean,
think there
one
might be an element of that with Madueke.
one strange thing about Madueke though was the fact that he left the squad before the final.
Yeah,
You'd have thought he'd want to stay for the final, no? There's a chance to get on the pitch in his so-called biggest game in world football and lift the
yeah,
trophy at the end. Unless Arsenal
but
were absolutely adamant, it's like, right, it's got to happen now, right, in case you get injured or.
maybe. And I don't know. Maybe I'm sure that it was with Maresca's like
Oh yeah, we bless
blessing.
him without a doubt. Yeah, yeah.
So
You
yeah,
obviously clearly would have been quite happy to sell for whatever the reasoning was. I'm just surprised from the player's perspective. He's not gone. I'd like to stay for the final and then go because he's been. It's not like he's not been part of this competition, right? He has been.
yeah, but
I found that a little strange.
clearly he doesn't like winning trophies. That's why he's gone and joined Arsenal.
Well, and on that bombshell, Gary said that, and I didn't. That's a great way to end the podcast. Gary, many congratulations. Thank you, mate. Anything you want to plug before we finish? Or anything you want to say that we haven't?
Um, no, we should say congratulations to FPL Harry, who got married at the
Well
weekend.
done, H. Yeah, I know he's been thoroughly invigorated by this competition. Not. Well done,
Yeah.
H.
Well,
Congratulations on getting married.
imagine having the best day of your life on Saturday and then having it already trumped on the Sunday by Chelsea becoming champions of the
I'm
world.
telling you that Harry wasn't that bothered, so I'm going to grass him up. I know because I spoke to him last week.
Yeah. No, and it's fine. And that is fine. Some people are going to be into it, some people aren't going to be into it. I say I don't really like Gianni Infantino, but I love football more than I hate Gianni Infantino. So if there's a tournament going on and we're playing in it, I'm going to get into it. And then when you play like we did as well, I'm going to celebrate it.
The concept of this tournament, Suj said this on the first podcast we did. The concept of this tournament is good. It's almost in hindsight surprising that it's taken this long to put it together. But there is too much non-emotive for too many people, and there are also too many good clubs not playing in it. And the biggest thing is the calendar is absolutely whacked.
That's
And
and I agree with all of that. But what I will say, bit of a history thing, if you this has come up on one of the quizzes before, and I did know the answer to this. When they first did the European Cup, the English champions didn't go into the European Cup because the FA didn't like it. The English
correct,
champions were Chelsea in 1955. So we didn't get put into that. So the
we feel
way that
for.
UEFA, the way that UEFA feel about the Club World Cup is exactly the way that the FA felt about the Champions League or the European Cup
Or I
when they
don't
put it
think
in
you'll
because
be
UEFA aren't into this.
you won't be changing UEFA's opinion because all UEFA will they're the same as FIFA, but they're all in it for themselves, right? And
Yeah, of course, but this is
FIFA know
it.
what UEFA make on the Champions League, etc., and they know what they make on their international competitions. They want more of the
But you
pie.
get
It's obvious.
resistance to these things sometimes initially, and then it might be that in 20 years' time, people really want to win this. It might be, it might not
Yes,
be.
no, I
We don't
agree,
know.
and I don't genuinely. I don't want to take anything away from what your football teams have achieved, mate. You're deserving winners. Yes, ultimately it could be massive in 20 years, and then yeah, we were first. Because everyone remembers who played for Uruguay in 1930, don't they?
Well,
Gary,
that's it. Should we just mention one more thing? Just
yeah, go
maybe
on.
just to upset another fan base of how much money that we've earned from doing this. And there's
Yeah, it's nearly
one
100
particular,
million.
and which club's ownership has funded that?
Newcastle's.
There you go. So if you're a Newcastle fan, you're complaining about the Chelsea spending. You're the ones that just gave us 100 million to go and spend on more players. So
Do you know what?
sorry
I should have
about
played
that.
dumb then and said, "Why don't you tell us, Gary?"
Yeah, but that's it. And this isn't a secret. PIF have funded this. And that does suggest that it's not necessarily sustainable long term in that guise. But maybe it becomes it. Maybe it does become sustainable, or maybe it just dies out and we become one of like only three teams that ever won it before they just cancelled the whole thing.
No, I don't think
Who
the
knows?
competition will die out. There's no
I
way FIFA are going to want it to, mate.
But it might be one of those things that players do eventually go, this is enough.
Ultimately, we will never know how seriously this competition would have been treated if the financial rewards weren't there. We'll never
Yeah.
know. But the financial rewards were there. So if
Yeah.
anyone was thinking, oh, sod it, we're going to take our second string, there was too much money in too short a period not to treat it seriously, or at least try to. So if the money's there, everyone will be back. Unfortunately, this is where our game is at
There
in
you go.
modern times. Gary, big thanks again. Congratulations to you and all our Chelsea followers. Gary will be one of 20 correspondents joining me for Correspondent Week on August the 4th. Tomorrow, I've got a Liverpool fan joining me. That's David Hunter. He's joining me for the transfer window show. Gary, like the wanker he is, has just poured himself a glass of champagne.
Close to the champions of the world.
Cue music, please, man, child.